Hey y'all, welcome back to Ryan and Robert Rants. Today we are continuing with our ranked series. We are doing Mission Impossible franchise. And which one are we going to be discussing today, Robert?
We are going to be doing Mission Impossible 2, the long awaited sequel after the highly successful Mission Impossible. And yeah,
Yes,
we
yes.
have some.
Also known as what?
What, Mission Impossible 2?
Also known as
Do you want me to say it? No.
Say it.
No! No! We'll get there.
Fine, we'll get there.
We'll
As you
get
were,
there.
as you were.
But yeah, so with the Mission Impossible, the final reckoning fast approaching, Ryan and I have decided to rank all 7 movies in the Mission Impossible franchise. We just did the first one. I mean, we could have just done a Tiermaker and did everything in 1 to 2 minutes, but that wouldn't be easy. We want Mission Impossible. So our mission, since we chose to accept it, is to do all 7 movies in a very, very, comprehensive way, doing it video by video. And by the end of each video, we are going to slot the movie on where we think it would fall on this Tiermaker list. And yes, we just got through doing Mission Impossible. This is Mission Impossible 2. And I believe we both have some thoughts on this one.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Would you like me to start or would you like the honors?
I can give it a start. So with this movie, John Woo takes over directing duties from Brian De Palma, and he brings his certain flair to it, if you want to call it that. But this movie opens on a plane where you see I'm guessing it's a chemist type character holding a briefcase, and he ends up getting, I guess, like killed and his stuff stolen. We first think it's Tom Cruise's Ethan Hunt because that is the person sitting next to him. But what? It's someone in a mask in true Mission Impossible fashion? Yes, we learned that it is a rogue IMF agent named, what's his name?
What's his name? Sean Ambrose.
Sean Ambrose. Was it
played by Dougray Scott?
Duggar Scott, yeah. I was about to call him Scott Duggar. Come on.
Yeah, he's had a very interesting career. Do you know
agree.
his history with Wolverine?
No.
So he was originally supposed to play the role of Wolverine in X-Men, but because of scheduling conflicts with this movie, he had to drop out, and the role went to Hugh Jackman.
Yikes. He made a mistake. Yeah. I mean, we got Hugh Jackman, so I can't complain.
Yeah, so your fun trivia fact for the day.
There we go. Nicely done.
I think he still had a pretty good career, and he still does. Career. Not to say it's over. I mean, yeah. I say what you will. I liked Hemlock Grove.
I will say, I didn't. He's look. He hasn't had a Hugh Jackman career, but he wasn't he on Batwoman?
Okay, so yeah, maybe he's made a couple of missteps in the career. Hey, but he's still going for it. He's still swinging for the fences.
Absolutely. I want to say I saw him something in a trailer recently. I don't remember what it was.
I guess we're gonna have to react to that one too.
Doesn't matter. I mean, I gotta find it. Anyways, not to get off topic on Mission Impossible 2, but where was? Oh yeah, so they escaped the plane, and then we cut to Ethan climbing up. I'm guessing it was some mountain scenery in like Utah or Arizona. It looked like Monument Valley, and that's where he gets the mission for stopping Ambrose and getting what they're calling the Chimera virus. But in order to do so, he has to recruit he has to have 2 people on his team. One, I believe he said anybody, right? So Luther was going to be one of them, and the other one was Ambrose's ex-wife. I forgot her name, but it's played by Thandie Newton. She is like a cat burglar thief. So, anything from this point from the movie, Ryan, you want to discuss?
Yeah, so I definitely want to preface this with just like the first Mission Impossible, this is another big movie from my childhood. So when I was a kid, my aunt and her then boyfriend took me to go see this for my birthday when it came out.
Okay.
So we saw it at Silla Vista when it first opened, and I believe we went to Jim's prior to seeing it. So those of you that don't know, Jim's is a local restaurant here where we're from. So yeah, we went to Jim's and then they took me to go see Mission Impossible 2. And yeah, dude, the ultimate like experience as a kid. So a couple of things to get up to the point where we're at. I cannot say the word chimera without thinking about Raz Cerbeja, who was my first introduction to him was The Saint, another childhood movie of mine, R.I.P. Val Kilmer. But yeah, my mom had that movie on repeat. So like his accent and just like the way he says chimera, like it's just it
Yeah.
sticks with you. Um God, dude, that airplane CGI just screams early 2000s like real hard. I am gonna say something controversial about
Do it.
I don't know about controversial, but at least hot take. Um, I I hate the long hair Ethan Hunt.
Yeah.
I hate it. I'm surprised he didn't just rock it like Magnolia style. Like, I don't know if you ever saw Magnolia, but like the way he's rocking it in there with like the almost
Yeah.
like a man bun
Yeah.
sort of thing. Yeah, but this one I just I can't do it. Because it just feels like a completely different character.
Yeah.
Um, and I mean, we're gonna go more into it, but as far as where we just left off, that's all I have to say so far about it. I mean, like you said, John Woo definitely sets the tone, and then we got Hans Zimmer doing the score
Yeah.
on this one, and I mean, it, it's an interesting one. Like I said, this movie feels and reeks early 2000s. Again, if you were there, you know what I'm talking about. If not, again, just like the first Mission Impossible, this is the perfect time capsule for an early 2000s movie.
See, I was gonna say like this one, like overall
Uh,
feels like a what?
sorry, I'm so sorry to cut you off.
Oh, you're good.
The most important thing, it gave us Limp Bizkit doing the theme and Metallica on the soundtrack, dude. I mean, this
Yeah.
is like a
The
complete overhaul from the
the
first Mission Impossible.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I'm probably gonna skip over some other plot points because this 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 movie. I made it. I made it like 5 minutes in. I don't really know what this movie was trying to do. um, honestly, what you said like early to me, this is like a mid '90s movie with a 2000s budget. If that makes any sense.
Yes.
And I
Or would that be flipped?
no, no,
This is this
I
is an
think
early 2000s movie with a mid 90s budget.
no, I think it's like a because when I see this movie, I think there's some parts of this movie that kind of just screams like Bad Boys to me, and not it just the way it's kind of shot,
Like the first one?
especially towards the end.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm like
Oh
mid
yeah.
'90s, mid '90s with
You
a
know, I never thought
2000s
about
budget,
that.
and it just has to do with like kind of like the ending of it. But again, like John Woo definitely brings his certain style, his flair, which I don't necessarily think it's cut out for this movie or this franchise in general.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it definitely takes. You know, they definitely take some risks with what they do in here. I completely forgot. There was some stuff I forgot to mention. So yeah, the long hair when he's on the plane, like that's when we first get it. Richard Roxburgh doing an American accent when he's in the cockpit and stuff like that, just like
Yeah,
really trying to flatten out that accent. I just saw you know, when I see him for the longest time I thought of Van Helsing, and then just recently, like in the last 2 years, I finally sat down and watched Moulin Rouge in its entirety, and seeing him in there is just like something else. Like I found myself singing like a virgin the way he sings it in the movie.
Yeah.
Just randomly. Um and oh, another thing about this movie, enter Tom Cruise's cousin, William Matherper. Matherper? I can never like pronounce their
Yeah.
last name correctly. But yeah, this is like when this was like his heyday. It was this, Swordfish, Lost, like just like, Tom, hey, you have any side work for me? And him just popping up in a movie. Um I will say this though about this plane, because the plane does crash. The
Yes.
plane crashes. Even though they're bad guys, they're not monsters. They at least had the decency to put the people to sleep before they crashed the plane. I will say that. I love that neck snap too. When he
Yeah.
kills him, it's a silent neck snap. And I think it's because it's a PG-13. They're like, if you
Yeah.
put
We
that
can't have it
crunch
at,
in
we can't have
there,
it in the
yeah.
beginning of the movie.
And when they do it, it's just silent with the guitar chugging in the background to like really set the tone of what this movie is. And again, we talked about Dougray Scott, deciding to make this
Yeah.
over Wolverine. One thing that's embedded in one line in the movie, it's embedded in my memory forever. It's the computer voice doing the terrain, pull up. Me and my brother quote that to each other an unhealthy amount of times throughout our lives. But it's just like, I don't know why it gets stuck in our heads, especially like if we're playing games like Ace Combat or just anything with like a flying simulator.
Pull up, pull up.
Just yeah, terrain, pull up, pull up. That explosion though with the plane slamming into the side of the mountain is so over the top hilarious too, because it's just like that, and then the flames don't even match up with
No.
it. It's like they went into Adobe and they were just like, okay, give me flame effects. We're just
Yep.
gonna slam this in and just flame effect.
And they're like, oh, it's not big enough, so they just copied it and pasted it, like, and it's just like,
Yeah. And then
like no blending elements.
yeah, exactly. And like I said earlier, I forgot Hans Zimmer had scored this. Um, this is most definitely a John Woo movie because of all the slow mo and the
Yep.
zooms just in the opening climb shot of like the zoom in on Ethan's face,
You zoom
and
out.
then like when he's jumping like that like to the next side of the cliff.
Yeah.
Um, and then of course, like we said, he gets the mission. Hello, Anthony. Hello and goodbye, Anthony
I know, right?
Hopkins.
Just over and out, just done. I completely forgot he was in the movie. Like, I've seen this movie, a few times, and I keep forgetting that he pops up and then he's gone.
Yeah, because it's literally like a walk on, walk off
Yeah.
sort of thing. I'm pretty sure he filmed all of his stuff in an afternoon.
Yeah. He's
It's
like,
like,
well,
okay,
I'm
good.
on. He's like, I'm on set. Do y'all need me for anything?
Exactly.
Or he's like, I'm in the area, like whatever.
I was gonna say, when they initially come, and again, John Woo, because it's so over the top the way the helicopter just pulls out of nowhere, and it's just this dude
Yeah.
like shooting the thing into the ground, and then you just cue the Limp Bizkit, just Tom Cruise just smiling, just smirking. And then of course we get the glasses. God, the glasses, dude. Again, time capsule from the early 2000s,
Yep.
and then just the whole throwing
Like
towards the thing.
that's like one of the most distinctive things I remember from the trailer way back when was him throwing the glasses at the screen.
Yeah,
Like
dude.
that's how
Like
that's how the trailer ends, I believe.
dude,
It's
I'm
just like,
shocked
boom.
that this didn't come with 3D glasses, a la Shark Boy and Lava Girl, when
Right?
this movie came out on DVD. But yeah, man. I mean, like you were saying, that's pretty much all I had, like as far as up to the point of the credits.
Yeah.
And as you
Yeah. So we get to the point where he meets um, Anthony Hopkins. He gets the whole like mission briefing.
oh, what happens before that though?
Well, I remember what's her name? Her name was Naya. But yes, he needs to recruit Naya.
Tandy Way Newton. Oh my god,
Yeah,
she's so gorgeous in this movie, man.
yeah. I do like.
Beautiful.
I will give John Woo credit. They knew how to shoot like her on camera. Like, I
Yeah.
mean,
Well, I
you
mean,
knew.
just her entrance when they're at the thing in Spain and they're
Yeah.
dancing and the dancers, slow moing John Woo style,
Oh
and
yeah.
you just see her like enter the screen. It's just
It's like if I would like
got the
describe,
biggest crush on her.
it's like a like yeah, her like hair, like her attire, just all like billowing in the wind, right? And it's like all
Yeah.
in slow motion. So and that was it was definitely different for this kind of movie because we got that from on her side, and then we would always cut to like Tom Cruise on the other side, like watching her, and it was just like
And then she
seeing
pulls a Batman.
yeah, and then she's gone. So it's just like one of those ones where it's just like this is his distinct style of how they want to shoot this, and it's I don't know, it's a little overdone. I
It's
think
definitely the sexiest Mission
yes,
Impossible.
and I think they wanted
Like
to,
without
and
spoiling everything else, like this is definitely the sexiest
yeah,
that it
and I think they
gets.
wanted to for sure give like Ethan Hunt a love interest in this movie because we kind of saw
Yeah.
him with one in the first one, but it was. It was the wife of the other character.
Yeah, and it's
Yeah,
sort of like, but
it
I
was like a
can't
weird
trust
thing.
her, but I can.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
it's she might be the bad guy, but I don't know.
And she
Having
had
said
her.
that, it is the sexiest. This is also the most boring Mission
Yeah.
Impossible.
So they were definitely pulling up that angle where it's like you have two attractive individuals, right? Catching each other's eye from across the room. But yeah, so she's trying to break in and trying to steal like a necklace,
Yeah,
I
so
believe it was.
she's trying to steal the necklace from a guy. I don't know if he's like a dealer or something
Yeah,
of sorts,
I'm
but
not
I know
sure
he
either.
has a necklace that he gave his wife, and like I said, one of the sexiest scenes. Like they're literally on top of each other in a
Yeah, in a
bathtub,
bathtub. Why the necklace
and
was
like
there, I
she's got
don't
like
know.
her dress pulled up too while she's like straddling him. It's
Yep.
like whoa, like they really toe that PG-13,
Yeah.
and while she's getting the necklace and he's like, oh, I wouldn't put it back in. And she does the dramatic zoom that they do into both of their faces.
I know.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
It's
And
just
then
something else.
yeah, that's when everybody comes in and Ethan Hunt plays off like he was the head of security, like, and this was like a test of the guy's security system. So they end up putting the necklace back, which she hides strategically down her. And if you notice the camera angles on any time she was on top of Ethan Hunt, like you can see straight down. So
Yeah.
again,
Nothing to
sexiest
the
look.
imagination.
No,
Nothing.
and this all leads to like what, like he in like a Porsche chase scene or whatever it was. I know one of them was in a Porsche, but this
And
honestly, this scene reminded me of the GoldenEye sequence with Pierce Bronson and
Xenon on
yeah,
top.
yep, this whole scene. But again, like
Dude,
still over the top done, and it leads to the both cars kind of leaning off the cliff edge and
in
Ethan
slow
pulling her up.
motion
Exactly.
with the Hans Zimmer.
Yeah.
Ah!
And it
Like, God, the
it
early 2000s dude is all over this scene.
and it did answer the won't they really early because spoiler alert, they did. So thankfully we just got that out of the way.
You know what I realized about that scene too? Like, because we've talked about these movies. I realized what this movie is. This movie is the Quantum of Solace of the Mission Impossible
Oh
franchise.
yeah, yes it is.
Right?
I agree. Yeah, not in a
Like
good
that.
way, but yeah,
Yeah, and it was all during that car scene. Like I was sitting there and I was like, why does this remind me of something? And it reminds me of the opening car scene from like you
yeah.
said, for sure, GoldenEye. Like I didn't even think about that, but yeah, like that's a really good comparison. But the one that came to mind was Quantum of Solace, like at the beginning when they're doing that car chase, and
Which is
then
another
it's
movie
just
I've
boring
seen.
after that.
Which is another movie I've seen like 4 times and still cannot bring myself to pay attention to
It's okay. I fell asleep the first time I
it.
saw it in theaters, and that was when it
Yeah,
came out.
man.
You're good, dude. good.
But again, that's how this movie kind of was like, and it's not so much just because there's not like enough intrigue or action. It's just I just don't like the style choices that was used to like convey these kinds of scenes. Because I know like Ambrose was kind of built up to be a like a mirror image of Ethan, and then we even get like both of them pining after the same girl because Naya is the ex-wife or the ex-girlfriend of Ambrose, and then they end up
Ex-girlfriend. Yeah.
ex-girlfriend, right? And then they
Yeah.
she and Ethan ends up hooking up, and there's this whole like they like what fall in love in like 30 minutes, and it's just like
Yeah.
it's kind of it felt a little forced because and not really all that believable in a sense.
Yeah, because it seems more lust
Yeah,
than anything. It's like they try to paint it as love, but it's more lust than anything. And I think you need more to build it up because they do rush like really fast into it. But that leads into Anthony Hopkins,
yeah.
entering the scene officially, physically, and he just adds another level to this
Mhm.
movie. And with that being said, this is when it segues to he's meeting with Ethan and they're discussing what's going on. And when he pulls up the laptop, that icon, Mission Archive DVD. Yeah.
You had to be
The
there, people.
mwah, you had to be there, 2000s. And he has two of my favorite lines, and I wrote them down. I can quote them, but
Go
it's
for it.
just like, oh god, dude, just when they're discussing the mission, he's telling him about Chimera, and he's telling him about Sean Ambrose, and he's telling him how the scientist is dead, and he's like, no, we need to go get him and stuff, and he's like, he's dead. And he was like, "Why? How? There's no way he would have gone without me." And then that's when you find out that Sean Ambrose had done that and had doubled as Ethan. And even Anthony Hopkins says he's doubled for you in the past, yeah. And he talks about his methods and stuff like that. And he's like, what do we need to do to get it from him? And then he's like, well, you're gonna use Naya to do that.
Yeah.
Like, and it showcases that Sean is pretty much obsessed with her. Like he fell in love with her, and she fell out of love with him or just never did. Um but that's what's established is that he's like head over heels and would do anything for her. And I love that Ethan, like you said, they paint it as like this love story between them, like he's in love with her, and he's just like, no, no, like, and the line he says, no, she's got no training for this. Anthony Hopkins, oh, to go to bed with a man and lie to him. She's a woman. She's got all the training she needs. And then he smirks because he looks at him. He's like, and then he tells him, I didn't get the first part of the line. He's like, it'll be, something. And he'll be like, difficult. He's like, it's not mission difficult. It's mission
It's Mission
impossible.
Impossible. Yep.
Difficult should be a walk in the park for you. Like,
Yep.
just like he's barely in the movie, dude, and he's got like these like banger lines.
Yeah. And
And
like
I
and
know I'm
it's
pretty sure a
so
lot of
well.
people would get mad at that woman line, but I just feel like he's the only one who could deliver that
Yeah.
line.
You get away with it.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
But
because
yeah,
what are you gonna do? It's Anthony Hopkins. Like, what are you gonna do?
exactly. And then like when they're talking, that's when he gives him the camera to show him Chimera. Dude, the dramatic zoom on the camera when it's placed on the table is like, I looked at it and I was like, oh man, a relic from the past. And I tried to remember what the memory card said. I think it was like 5 MB or something like that.
That
The
was probably
SD
top of the
card.
line. Yeah.
I was like, dude, for that time, like, yeah,
Yeah.
again, like Robert said, you had to be there. You had to be there. But yeah, after that, they're talking to get Naya and Ethan are talking. We'll feel better. Like that, I think that's the extent we get to him of yelling
Yeah.
in the movie. Um, but yeah, the from there, that's when they set up like, oh, he'll find me.
Yeah.
Um, so they throw her in jail and stuff like that. And then, as she's getting out and Ethan's watching her, just that reflection in the sun, her reflection in his sunglasses. John Woo, dude.
Mhm.
All John Woo.
Oh yeah.
And then, like you said, we get the two people to accompany him that'll be on the mission. Hello and goodbye, Billy Baird. But I did look him up because I was curious to see, like, what did he do? So apparently he went on to direct and executive produce a lot of crime procedurals. So like
Really?
Law and Order, Chicago PD, FBI. So he went more behind the camera. I
Oh
think
yeah.
if I'm not mistaken, this was one of his last acting roles, and I think he didn't do one for like a decade or so. And then he
Wow.
started going behind the camera.
So he probably
But
made a lot of money off those TV shows, though.
oh, dude, easily. I mean,
Yeah.
executive producing and directing those
Yeah.
procedurals. I mean, it's easy money.
Oh. Oh yeah. Especially
And I
like
mean,
shows that like long running like that, like all those Chicago shows.
yeah. Plus, he has experience with action because he did this movie. And I mean, I'm pretty sure he picked up a few tips.
Oh, I'm sure.
Set him up for that one. But along with Billy Bard, we do have number 2, Ving Rhames with the mustache.
Yep.
Getting, yeah. For those of you that were around, Radio Shack commercials.
Oh man. Okay, this is
Yeah,
the
I
time.
just took you back.
It's the time capsule. This is what we're doing. It's not until we get to like the fifth and the sixth one where you'd be like, all right, we're caught up with technology here. Nah, we're taking it back.
Yeah. So for the younger audience, Radio Shack was a store where you could get electronic items.
Yes.
It was
And
unfortunately
honestly,
shut down.
yeah. And like it was also some weird electronics too. It wasn't like, yeah, they're mostly inside malls. And a mall is a place where you go to.
Where you can go to a store. A store is a place where you go.
Yeah.
It's a brick and mortar.
Yeah. A mall was a store, it was like 100 stores inside of a building. But yeah, malls are awesome back then.
They were. So, Naya finally meets up with Sean, and dude,
Him, yeah.
only John Woo could make a scarf getting ready to fly off and caught with one hand look dramatic.
Right? That's what I'm
Honestly,
saying. It's just like the simplest things. Like it's these odd choices. It's like, did we need to do this? Like, are we just testing his reflexes? What are we doing?
dude, it's early Zack Snyder.
It's what it is.
So,
like, I would not have been surprised to see Zack Snyder's name on the credits. Like, was he a producer?
Or at least like an assistant.
Yeah, exactly.
To the director.
Like, is this he's the Dwight Schrute of this movie. He's like an uncredited assistant to the director.
Dude, and
I feel like this is where he got his stuff from.
Dude, for real. We all gotta start somewhere, right?
Yeah, I just watched a bunch of John Woo movies.
Dude, and then Richard Roxburgh's character, or Hugh, his character's name, was talking to Tom Cruise's cousin, and she's like, he says, Tom Cruise's cousin's like, oh, she's clean, like they, checked her. Dude, his line, all cats are.
I know, right?
The lines, dude, the cheesiness in this movie.
Yeah, like I said, it's these choices that's like what were you trying to go for in this movie?
I don't know. John Woo had a vision, and maybe he executed it, maybe he didn't. But you know what? I don't think we'll ever know.
I think he executed the vision he wanted to. Does it fit this movie? This style of movie? I don't know. Like, because like you think about it, the plot is not terrible, right? It's not that bad. I just wish that there was more explored. Like, if you're gonna show, okay, so like Ambrose has I believe it was he doesn't actually have the virus at this point in the film. He has the antidote, I believe, right? And he needs because he wants he has the antidote, but he wants to get the actual virus to unleash the virus so he can make a profit selling the antidote.
Yeah, and
So,
actually, while we're on that subject, the scene right after is Luther and Ethan are going over the Chimera video for like the 15th time in the movie.
mhm.
And they explain the tale of Chimera and breaking down what's going on. And I love Luther's response. He's like, "That's simple." And Ethan's like, "Why not?" Like that's literally their lines.
Yeah,
Like it's like, yeah, a virus was created, and I forgot what the cure is called. It starts with a
yeah.
B.
I don't remember what the cure was called. It's definitely not.
And
It doesn't strike out like chimera. Like that's a cool name, right? But they could have easily made
yeah.
the cure, a memorable name.
Yeah, but they literally sum up the audience that like Luther is the audience. He's like, "That's simple." Ethan's
Yeah,
like, "Why not?" Yeah, they created a virus. They want to create the cure, or they have the cure. They have the virus. What can I do to get both?
yeah. And what was it? It's like a was it like a 21 hour or 20 hour something like it's like a blood
30,
disease, right? Yeah,
30 hours.
it
So from
attacks.
initial, yeah,
It,
initial thing, which I do have an issue with. I
the
don't know if
time
I have
or
that in my notes later on. But you know what? Yes, I do. I don't have it in my notes, but I'm gonna bring it up in a little
okay,
while when we get to it because I have an issue with um the time frame and the way that it's illustrated.
okay.
It is
So
a
yeah,
big
we
plot
could
hole.
yeah we can kind of jump into it. So like she infiltrates, Ambrose's like compound. I believe they end up going to the horse track. I don't
Well, right before that is a very important scene, and
which
it's the
one.
cigar cutter scene.
Okay.
So this is where we get the 32 megabyte SD card.
Yeah.
I paused it to see what the size was. And this is when Hugh and Sean are having the back and forth because Hugh is like, I don't trust her. Something's off, the timing's off. And again, Sean, he's whipped.
Yeah.
Like he loves her. And then Hugh has the line where he says, you know, when she left, she wasn't exactly gagging for it. Again, the script, dude. The
Yep.
script.
Just the lines,
And
just B movie lines.
yeah, and then right there, you get the cigar cutter, and Sean's like showing his power that he has over Hugh. And he's like, "Oh, that's a nasty fingernail," and he puts his finger in the thing, and then he tells him gagging for it, and then
Gone.
like
Yep.
clips off the end of his fingertip, and then we cut to the
Yeah.
horse racing scene. But yeah, that cigar cutter scene is very important, very very important.
Yeah. And that's they ended up they were using it as a ruse, right, to meet up with Brendan Gleeson's character. I believe he owned the company that they were gonna funnel
Yes,
the whatever
yeah,
through.
he owns the pharmaceutical company that created Chimera.
Yeah. And then yeah,
So
they were
he
gonna
has the virus, and they have the cure.
yeah. So, and then of course this was used as a drop, I believe, to give Naya to give Ethan some information on, I believe, where Chimera was located because they wanted to break in and steal the disease, right? The virus because they have the cure. So, but again, like they chose the horse track and they were like using it as a sequence of suspense because she went to go make a bet and that's when she was handing off that information to Ethan. And then you have
Yeah, a
Ambrose's
lot more
cronies
slow mo
coming in.
shots with the horses. Like,
Exactly. Just unneeded slow mo. This movie could have been like 15 minutes shorter.
yes, and actually, while we're on that subject, there's a I don't know if you noticed during the movie, there's a whooshing sound effect whenever the camera sweeps. Whenever there's a
Yes.
scene where the camera has to swoop or sweep,
Yep.
there's a
Yeah.
whooshing sound effect throughout the whole movie. But yeah, the whole thing is it's set up so that way they can do the drop, and then Ethan's like, I need you to get it, left jacket pocket. So she goes, she lifts it because that's her thing, she's a thief.
Yep.
And she does the sleight of hand, pulls it out of his pocket, goes meets Ethan, steals the drive because they haven't seen, what Chimera does. They've only
Yeah.
just heard about it. So that's when they finally have the footage, and Ethan's like, he's thrown, dude. He's like, no, we're getting you out of there. He's like,
Yeah.
I want you out of there tonight, or I'm coming in. For
which
you.
yeah, and then because there's a scene where she's trying to break out, and then she's stopped by an Ethan, right? But she thinks it's Ethan, but it's obviously Ambrose using Ethan's mask.
I have a question for you about that. How long was he dressed up as Ethan just chilling there on the side waiting for her? Because when that scene opens, she's like, Sean? Sean?
Yeah,
She's like running through the house and then she just, bolts off to the side and he's just like, he just jumps out of nowhere and grabs her. But how long was he chilling there dressed up?
it's like he had to have known, right? If he's gonna just sit there and like he has to have known that she was gonna like betray him or something.
Yeah, well, the reason that he knows is because during the horse race scene when she comes back, because they make a copy um
Yeah, when she puts
of
it
the
back, he
SD card.
notices.
Yeah, when she puts it back, she puts it back in the wrong pocket. She puts it back in the right jacket pocket, like he had it in the left.
The left.
Because when they do that slow mo,
Yeah,
like, and like his face, like he realizes. And when they cut after the next scene, when they're back at the house, and he asks Hugh, can you go ahead and grab the envelope out of my pocket, my right jacket pocket, and then he pulls it out of the right jacket pocket and he gives it to him, and then that's how he knows
yeah.
that he's like, okay, she's up to something. But yeah, like him just chilling there, like I was
Just
like,
waiting.
it made me wonder. It's like like a cigarette on the side, just waiting. Like, oh, here she comes.
Yeah, that's when we find out like the chimera. It's a virus that attacks the red blood cells and like decays them after like what you said 30 hours. I think it was.
Yes, and while they're pulling that up, so they're doing that. They're talking about it, and that's when Luther, Ethan, um, and what's his face is what's his character's name? Is it Billy? I don't remember what his character's name was
I don't remember.
in the movie, but Billy Bart's character. When they're there, he Luther pulls up the end of the movie when he's like, "Oh, sorry, that's just a biocide facility offsite. Let me pull up the building." When they're talking about how they're gonna go in, but yeah, initially they see what it does. And again, I'm holding off on what I want to bring up because they show you what happens after 30 hours. Because while Naya is getting ready and she gets pulled by fake Ethan, um, they've kidnapped Brendan Gleeson's character and they have him in the limo. I love that they put the newspaper in the back and they have the headline where he's dead. And he's just like,
Yeah.
let me out. And it's like, dude, that gas took him out real fast.
Oh yeah.
And when he just wakes up in the hospital bed, and then you see the scientists come through, and everything's just in slow mo but blurry now. And then he's telling them, what it is about the 30 hours, how he's dead, and the virus and the cure. I've got the virus. I'll have the cure, because it's all about making money.
Yep.
They want to create this pandemic or this craziness to push the drug. We're going to create it, but we're also going to give you the cure, and it's going to be worth all this money that they're going to make from it. So that's all it is. At the end of the day, is just trying to make money from it. And then, I heard what I needed to hear.
Dun dun dun.
Dun. And then we get Fakey. I love how it's fake Ethan because of how he looks. It's like he's squinting almost.
Yeah.
Like every time he's on, he's just like it's sort of the tone that he uses in his voice. So it's like, oh, this is how you know it's evil Ethan. Which again, is such an 80s trope.
Yeah.
Evil twin. But yeah, so while they're discussing that, they talk about the building, and I will say I enjoy the back and forth where it's cutting between Sean and Ethan, and they're both talking about each other, but Sean's like, he's probably gonna do some some acrobatic nonsense
Yep.
with the roof because he'd rather do that than harm a hair on an innocent security guard.
Which
And
they end up doing.
yeah, which they just
They
go in and
just,
kill
yep.
every.
And he called it, so he did that, and then they just go in and kill everybody. Yeah, so like
And,
what? We're at the scene where they're breaking in, or they're both trying to get the Chimera virus.
yeah, so once they break in, dude, okay, so I had to notate this. John Woo slow motion gunfight. An hour and 15 minutes into the movie.
Yeah.
This is the first gunfight we get an hour and 15 minutes into this movie. This movie's a little under on the dot 2 hours.
Yeah.
There's only 45 minutes left of this movie, and we just got all the action. So I will say this about it. It's a John Woo slow motion gunfight. It's got
Yeah.
spins, it's got swoops, it's
Yep.
got zoom ins, explosions, slides, mirrors. I
Everything
do
you
like
know
it
and got accustomed to it.
exactly, and then it does have a pretty good. This is where Doug Ray Scott gets the shine. The hardest part of portraying you grinning like an idiot every 15 minutes. And he also delivers the weakest line of the movie. Come on out here, you bad girl.
Again, it's like a. It's
So
just
bad.
it's like the B level like movies like dialogue. It's just that's what I'm saying. Like it's a bigger budget, but it's like a 80s to 90s just B movie.
Yeah, and all honesty, I've never really watched or seen John Woo's earlier movies prior to Face Off. Like
Yeah,
Face Off was my first John Woo movie and exposure, but I got the gist from that of what it is, like, his style, like his signature, like it's a John Woo movie
yeah,
when you're watching it. So I mean, I think that's why this movie hit me as much as it did as a kid is because I grew up with Face Off. Like Face Off was another big childhood movie of mine, so this one felt like it scratched that itch. Or
yeah,
just like Face Off, there's a lot of slow parts before it gets to the action.
yeah,
But again, I feel like that's what hurts this movie is an hour and 15 minutes for the action.
yeah. We got yeah, but after all this, Naya ends up injecting herself with the Chimera virus, so no one
Hear
can
the
have
Hans
it.
Zimmer theme.
Yeah.
Music.
And of
Yeah.
course, they have to share a moment, Nia and Ethan. And then, all the parties, go their separate ways. And I'm not going to lie, this is kind of like the part where it's like, I remember this scene, and then it pretty much just cuts to the motorcycle act, like chase scene. Like, I don't really remember much in between, if I'm not lying.
So I will refresh your
Please
memory.
do. Because it's just like one of those ones where it's like, it goes from here, and then she's standing near a cliff, and they're fighting on motorcycles. Almost torque style, and it's kind of weird.
So, oh my god, yes. I'm glad you brought that up. Hold on to that for something that's going to come way in the future. It won't be covered in this.
Okay.
But the torque reference is going to come back in a later entry in this franchise.
Okay.
So yes, she injects herself with the virus. Ethan doing more slow motion grabs her. I take it back. He does yell again in this scene. We do get a little bit more Tom Cruise yelling, but I feel like Hans Zimmer is like, no, I can overpower that with the score.
Oh yeah.
So,
Just crank the music up.
yeah, so he does that. I will say I like him throwing the bag against the wall and shooting it. He's like, I will find you. And he just does that slow motion like jump out like that. But again, it's the hair, dude. I can't do it with the hair. It just throws me off. Um So after that, it cuts to the scene where she's left with Sean, and he's basically like, what are we gonna do with her? And he lets her out. He just drops her in the middle of downtown Sydney. And at the same time, while all of this is going on during that scene, when Ethan's going down, they're out of communication for 8 minutes with Luther and Billy Bard. So Sean's team plants a bomb on the van that Luther's in, and then Leather Jacket Ex Machina, while he's trying to escape, he gets snagged on the thing, on the door, trying to get out. Instead of taking the jacket off, he's like,
Nah,
"No, let me just try to wrestle with it."
of course.
And they do a fake out where you think, "Oh my god, Luther's dead." Like, cause you see the dramatic zoom into the top of the van and then just like explosion. And I like when he crawls out from it. Now, the thing I can't remember is if the computer gets damaged, the one that tracks Naya, because again, they preface that they inject her when she goes with Sean, and he's like, we're gonna be tracking you. This computer's the only one that can track you where you are.
I mean,
And
I know they find her eventually, so I don't think the computer got damaged. Because how else did
yeah,
they
that
find her on the
well,
cliff?
that's what I can't remember is that if they repair it,
Uh,
because I know that they just drop her off in the middle. Sean drops her off in the middle of a thing, and then they go to, like I said earlier, Luther was giving us the warning of fast forwarding to the end of the movie. They go to that biosite facility, and then from there, that's where they're gonna make the deal. Brendan Gleeson's gonna come in, saying like, "Oh, this and that. Show me you have the virus and the cure, and we'll do $30 million." But what Sean decides is like, no, instead of the 30 million, we want shares.
yeah.
We want to
Okay, I
buy
do
share.
remember
And
that
then
part. Yeah, he wants
yeah,
like 51% of the company.
yes. And he's like, I'm never gonna give you my
Yeah,
company. And from here, this is where Ethan comes in, all stealthy and whatnot, slow motion drop kicking guys. Like he's just drop
that's right.
kicking everybody
Just coming out
throughout
swinging,
this scene.
boom,
Yeah,
boom.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
And everything that he does, it's all in slow motion. It's all
yep.
just like, and
That's
then
right.
little
Yep.
cartwheels and whatnot. And the pigeons, dude. The amount of pigeons that are chilling out in this freaking place. Like,
It's like I'm
it's
telling you, they
ridiculous.
went with like a romanticized version of like we want to do like a love story, but it's like an action spy thriller. Like it just doesn't work. Like why is there so many pigeons?
Yeah, and again, but I think I figured out why. So there's all these pigeons, all this stuff. He's taking guys out. He throws a pipe bomb over next to this door, which I need you to remember this door. So this door is inside this. I guess it's armored. It's almost like a bunker
Yeah,
that they're inside, where they're discussing, the shares and stuff like that. This, from what you remember from this scene, that door is the only way in and out, right?
if I remember, I believe so.
Okay. So they're closed off. He throws the pipe bomb at the door. They go to open the door. He shoots it. Two stuntmen fly backwards in slow motion. And the cheesiest shot of the movie. It zooms in into Sean's eyes with the fire. It almost makes his eyes look really green from it. And through the fire, you see a dove fly in, almost silhouetted by God himself with light shining down from the heavens. It almost looks like the opening to the Columbia Pictures logo.
Oh God.
And it just flies in, and you just see Ethan just stroll right by, just sauntering. And he's like, go get him. So Hugh goes out there. They ensue in a fight. And before they do, he's hiding. And then you just see the dove right there. He just looks at it, flies off. and then again swings down, kicking. Ethan does so much kicking in this movie. I feel like he uses his feet to kick in this movie, or his legs to kick, more than any of the other ones in the franchise.
Mostly, yeah. Oh, for
It
sure.
is this movie was leg day the movie for Ethan. And while they're fighting, he palms a grenade, takes it out, throws it, knocks both him and Hugh backwards. Now, I timed this. I counted it out. So from the time that grenade goes, he throws it, they're knocked out and they're down. From the time that they're down to the time that Hugh drags Ethan back into the room, 15 seconds. Now, I'm timing it real time because it's not movie time. It doesn't feel like there's a difference in the movie time versus real time.
Right.
15 seconds is about how long it is when Hugh comes strolling in through the smoke and he's dragging Ethan, who's duct taped, hands behind his back. I don't remember if it was duct tape or handcuffed, but
I think it was duct taped. I believe it was duct taped.
and
Yeah.
yeah, and he's got Ethan there, and he's like, has him there. And he's like, I broke his jaw and stuff like that because Sean shoots him in the leg and the thigh.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, "Arr, arr." And he's like, sorry, he won't be able to speak. I broke his jaw. And you see Hugh, like, go to the back a little bit, and then Brendan Gleeson's getting up, and Sean's like, sit down. And then he says, this is what's known as getting your gun off. And he turns and he looks at Ethan. I love the wide-eyed expression of it. I was like, and he just unloads the
Yeah.
gun like straight into him, which you don't see any of the bullets, but I feel like that's to keep the PG-13 rating.
Probably, yeah.
Like, you don't see any holes or anything, not even a headshot. So he's just like that, and you just see Hugh like grinning, like, yeah, Ethan's dead, and so is Sean. And what do you notice about this scene?
That's when they do like a zoom on the guy's finger because
Mm-hmm.
it's bandaged
Because he
of the
falls
cigar.
backwards.
Yeah.
Exactly, and you look, and then again we get slow motion reveal. He's
And then,
going in. He notices it. He turns him over, pulls off the mask. Boom! It's Hugh. Duct tape over his mouth. And then they cut back to the table. It turns around. The virus and the cure are missing. And then it cuts, and you just see Hugh running in slow motion, putting them into a leather jacket. And while he's running, like, turns out it was Ethan all along.
what?
So, my question to you about this scene: 15 seconds for him to put the mask on, put duct tape over him. Can he do it in 15 seconds?
Absolutely not.
Okay, so there's that.
Yeah.
2, in order for him to get out of that bunker, he would have had to go past them in order to get out.
Unless there was another way out that we did not know. But
And I didn't
yes.
see one.
Yeah.
I did not see one. All I saw was that door.
Yeah.
And it would make sense of why you would have 2 guards right there at the door and someone knocking. Because if there was another way out, you would have someone else there.
Yeah.
So that's, again, I have to watch the scene again. But from my memory, the scene just does not work out logistically. Yeah. It does not work at all. But yeah, so from there, that's when he's starting to run out, and he's like, okay, Luther, Billy Barr to the rescue, we're gonna get out of here. And that's when he's getting shot by random henchman number 47, and then he does the dramatic like dropping on the back and the zoom in to hazardous waste. Just let me just shoot that and just explosion, because that's what hazardous waste does.
Yes.
Instant explosion. And
I've played enough video games. Yes, that's exactly what it does.
yeah, and then I like from that scene instantly he's like, okay, I gotta put on these sunglasses like while he's on the ground. And then from there, that's where we get to your motorcycle chase scene.
Motorcycles.
So do you remember anything about the motorcycle chase?
Yeah, I just know they're like going. I know he uses the mirror, like the reflection, to like try to shoot, I believe. So like he's
Mhm.
like in front, they're chasing him. So he uses the rearview mirror and like he's blind, like what you think is
So,
blindly shooting behind, but he's
yeah.
using the mirror. I believe he actually gets the, I guess you would call it the windshield on a motorcycle.
Yeah, he knocks out Sean's windshield because you get a
Yeah,
dramatic as it shatters.
yeah, like and then they end up like chasing like whatever, and they end up like on the side of like is it like a beach or a cliff or whatever. I just remember
They
like them
do.
just like jumping over each other and just going around, and I'm just like, what are we doing, guys? Like, are we just like I'm surprised they just didn't go up like I mean Torque came out later, but they just didn't go up and like just start fighting with their bikes like that.
It's because we get something even better, dude. We get motorcycle jousting. It's
Yeah.
what we get. But there's also a line that is said during that scene, during the motorcycle chase scene. And it's when Luther is protecting Ethan and taking out the guys. He gets shot at. He has probably one of the best lines in the movie. That punk put a hole in my Versace. Again, a
Only can be
Luther
delivered.
line.
Yeah, only can be
Only
delivered by him.
exactly. And like you said, we get motorcycle jousting, jump up, bikes blow up in fantastic John Woo fashion, and then they like fall down to like the bottom of the beachfront,
Yeah,
and then it turns into breakdance fighting on the beach.
pretty much, yes. And it just
It's
went on way too long. Like, and at one point, like he hits Ethan in the head with a rock, and I'm like, dude, that would have just been like, this is a big rock. It just goes boom right on the top of his head. Just like
yeah.
that would have been like it for Ethan. I don't
And
care.
and the scene is also intercut with Naya walking to the
Just
cliff where she's just
slow
like,
mo
I'm gonna end it all.
walking, again, hair and garments just billowing. Right. I mean, I get it. She's on a cliff face, so it's going to be windy, but it's just slowly walking. It's just like these guys are fighting, and she's just slowly walking. Every like
She's
you know
walking to the end
10,
of the movie, dude. She's like, she sees the credits in the
yeah,
distance
yeah,
and she's like, let's
just
go.
just jump already in the movie.
This is the issue I have with the with her with this scene, and this is what I was holding on to the end. So the whole purpose of this movie, with the 17 times they show Chimera and what it does, and they talk about what it does, they even show what happens with the scientist.
Yeah,
He gets Chimera. 4 hours into it, he's like bleeding from his eyes and stuff like that, and he looks like he's got like really bad flu. Then it goes a couple more hours, and he's really bleeding out and looking a little dehydrated, looking like ET after the river. And then finally he's like dead after so many hours.
yeah,
It has already been hours
yeah,
since Nia injected herself with the virus. Where is all of this?
yeah. At the very least, like I don't
Blood
remember the
from the
time.
eyes, dude. At
Yeah,
least a sample,
I
something.
don't remember. Yeah, I was saying I don't remember the time frames. I remember like after like 29 or 30 hours, it was complete death. I want to say it started at like 17, but even then,
It
like I
started at
remember,
4 hours.
but I remember them
They
setting the
come back to the
watch.
doctor.
I remember them setting the watch, and he's like, "You have like I can't remember what the time limit was, but I'm like, it still should have been like something should have been
30
like
hours.
setting in, like it should have been like something setting it. It could have just been like because he was, you can see the scientist getting discolored, but
Yeah, she should have been
like
like me when I get the
something
flu, dude.
is
Like,
something.
yeah, she's
Yeah,
just like, she just looks like she hasn't eaten in 2 days. Like
yeah,
that's it. Like she's just like, I'm so hungry. I'm
like
so
where's like
hungry.
there should be some like sweats or like
Yeah,
like
like the
stumble
flop
like
sweats.
yeah something.
They're in
But nah,
Australia.
but
So
nah, she's just perfectly fine at the moment.
Exactly. It looks, you know, she looks like she just has a stomach bug where she's like, oh, like get me to a bathroom. Like
Not
I
even
drank the
that.
water.
It was basically just her modeling gig for this whole movie.
Pretty much,
I
dude. And
mean,
you know, like it's cut in with that fighting, and like I said, they don't even make her look sick
yeah.
through it.
Like one thing this franchise does well is to show the tension of like they get so close to failing. Like it's literally the last seconds or last tenths of a seconds when things they actually succeed in their missions. And this one, I just felt nothing. Like I was like, I don't care. Like just jump. Like just like I don't know. Maybe it's just the thought of a virus at least the way it was portrayed in this movie wasn't as to me like it didn't build any tension because she's just on a cliff, right? So it's only her
Yeah,
that's getting
she's just
affected.
coming to a
There's no
yeah,
stakes as opposed to like, hey, this is going to go off in a city. Like it's not a bomb that's going to unleash this, virus in a city or like a
yeah.
subway or something. It's just her, which
which
sad
which
if
is
she
why
dies,
you need
but
to illustrate her sick. Like you
yeah,
need to illustrate that visually to show that there is stakes, but it's
yeah,
not. It's just like I said, it's like stomach flu. It's like, oh man,
yeah,
I got really bad cramps. And like they can't do that because that's the whole thing is that if she dies, it spreads it.
yeah,
But because they're like in the nick of time, and again, I will say this, we do get a cool shot with the knife towards Ethan's eye, which
yeah,
again practically shot. Tom
yeah.
Cruise was like, no, go for it. And everybody was like, Tom, no, no, no. So if we were to talk about stunts, that would probably be the big one of the movie,
Yeah,
where it was like he went for it and wanted it to be as real as possible. And then that's when, again, he kicks Sean and then he hits his head on the back of the rock. They arrive with Naya. Ethan's like, I got the cure. And then Sean's pointing the gun because Luther's like, oh my God. Like he
yeah,
sees him. And then the gun kick in the sand, dude. Physics.
yes. Just
Physics.
it's like he don't even
How
kick
that
it up. He just like steps on it like a landmine and the thing
yeah, and it's just
like yeah.
which inspired Bad Boys 2.
That's what I was thinking. Like, that's exactly where I went with that. Just like, dude,
Right next to the
boom.
landmine.
Yeah. And then he follows up with, "That's how you shoot." From now
Oh God,
on.
if Luther would have followed up, no, that would have been a Billy Bard line from the helicopter. That's how you shoot.
Yeah. From now on, that's how you shoot.
But yeah, they give Naya the cure. We get Anthony Hopkins one last time, and then they meet up in a park in
Yes.
Australia.
Yes.
And that's it.
Yeah.
That's the movie.
That's the movie.
That's your ending. This is the end to the sequel
Yes.
of Mission Impossible.
Mm-hmm.
So,
which is why we didn't get a new one for 6 years.
yeah.
Although this movie made a lot of money.
It did, but you have to
Again,
wonder, was it because of the first
yes,
one?
absolutely.
Everybody was going in, and then
Yeah.
you get like this crazy
And then
result.
this is like one of those ones where it's like it is the most divisive in the franchise, I believe.
Well, let's see how divisive it is. Out of 10, Robert, what do you give this movie?
Oh man. See, I can't. Again, I've seen this movie at least 4 or 5 times, but for the life of me, I just cannot remember, beat by beat everything. Like, and I just watched this like 2 days ago. So, and like, but like when you were going over it, I was like, okay, yeah, that did happen. Like, I get what they were. Nothing against John Woo. I mean, I haven't not seen many of his movies, but I'm thinking maybe like if another director, maybe another like Brian De Palma did this one, or just someone else in better, like I don't want to say better hands, but like in different hands, could this movie have been better? Because the plot was okay, right? There
Sure.
wasn't to me. I mean, in turn, like I feel like you can make some modifications to it, right? Like the ending should definitely have more stakes. Because I didn't feel like there was a whole lot. Like the first movie ended with potentially high stakes, but it wasn't global stakes like we are at this point, right? Just escalation. But
Yeah.
I feel like from if you're gonna make a sequel to a movie, you have to escalate, and I didn't feel like this did that in terms of the threat level of yeah, the virus is for sure deadly, right? We get that. They reminded us that several times throughout the whole movie. But then where like show us that threat like in an actual like environment, not just in one person. So I feel like if you elevate the threat level at the end and then you I guess display Ambrose in a more mirror image of Ethan Hunt, this movie probably would have been a lot better because I mean he was fine, but I don't think it went off as well as they were hoping it would because he was supposed to be like the anti Ethan Hunt, and again, it's like one of those ones where like this could be Ethan Hunt on a bad day. It's like the Punisher is Daredevil on a bad day, right? Like it's
Yeah.
two. I don't want to say two sides of the same coin, but it's it kind of is. So again, there were some good elements to the movie. It just to me was not executed well. I didn't mind Tom Cruise's. I don't like Ethan Hunt with long hair, but I do like the long hair. He had some great hair in the movie. That's like your Sam Winchester hair. So I can't. Given all that, I just I can't see myself giving this anything higher than a 5 out of 10, and I think that's even being generous.
Wow. That's
Yeah,
fair. Especially after everything you just said, it's fair score, especially after four times. And the fact that you said like I just saw this 2 days ago and I
yeah,
already forgot.
yeah,
Like, I mean, it's a fair assumption. So like I preface, this movie will always have a special place in my heart, but it's not great.
mm,
It takes way too long to get to the action. Like I said, an hour and 15 minutes
yeah,
before the actual action happens. The pace is way too slow. The cast is good
yeah.
and
It's a good cast.
serviceable, but the story is weak. I will give you this. It has a very interesting premise, but it feels like they do nothing with
Yeah,
it.
yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like there's good elements to this story, but they just did not execute it, and there's no stakes to it. So it's like
Yeah.
if you're gonna go bigger and better, like most sequels do, you didn't do that with this.
And like I prefaced while we're on that subject, how I prefaced earlier, this is definitely the sexiest
Yes.
that this gets, but
Actually, now that
it
I'm
is also
thinking
the
about it,
most boring of the franchise.
it like since it was like the you said that thing was set in Spain. This actually kind of reminds me of like a Telemundo soap opera in that beginning. Just the way the music and how it was
Yeah.
shot, just so like over dramatic for no reason.
Well, it's also a testament of the time, which is why I say like it's a time capsule of the early 2000s cuz dude, like Latin culture was at an all-time high around
Mm.
that time. We had Ricky Martin,
Yeah,
we
that's true.
had Enrique Iglesias like
Yeah,
taking the world by storm. Mark Anthony, like these guys were at the forefront
yeah,
of the culture. And it was like the Latin boom of the early 2000s.
yeah.
And they had a chokehold on that. And I think that's why they made sure to show Spain or something. But yeah, I mean, you said that perfectly. I mean, and it goes in with why he would have long hair, give it that telenovela feel.
Yeah. So how about you? Where are you putting this out of 10?
So out of 10, having said everything I said, I'm giving this a 6.5. Now,
Okay.
again, like I said, it's because it holds a place in my heart, but it is not without faults.
Right.
This by far, so far out of the two, is the worst of the two.
Oh, yes, easily.
But like I said, the cast is good. It's sexy, but the boring, dude. The
Yeah.
boring outweigh like it's like it teeters it brings it down from what it could be, and just they did nothing with the premise. They did
Nope.
nothing with it. Nothing. And yeah, so 6.5 being generous. That's a generous point 0.5. So that's where
So
I'm at out of 10.
where would you like to rank this one on your tier maker?
Ooh, so I have the honors of going first.
Yeah,
Am
I went
I
first last time.
two? Ooh, am I two? Am I two? So if I had to rank this one, oof, this is a big one. It's a big decision, but I'm gonna have to go D.
Yeah,
And again, like we've discussed, that might change, especially as we discuss more of the entries. But as of right now, it's a D for me.
yeah. I won't go
Where
too
you
much.
sitting at? Where
I won't
you
go. I
at?
won't go too suspense on it. In my mind, I had it as a D as well.
Not
Yeah,
very
not F, not
nice.
F. Like I
Very
said,
nice.
again, I like to. It doesn't matter what movie. I always try to find at least some good things. Like not a lot of movies. Some movies will have a lot of bad things, but there's always some things you can find that they did, decently. And I can look at this one and say that there's some elements there that works, and then if maybe in another person's hands, or just slightly tweaked, it could have really like elevated it. Unfortunately, it just did not. And maybe it is also a victim of coming out after the first one, because the first one was so good. So this
Yeah.
one, you expect this one to like top it, and it just didn't. And like there's pretty much no way it top, like in nothing, no category to exceed the first one.
No. God no.
So, but yeah, I'm gonna have to leave it as a D tier for now.
So well, look, see, it wasn't as divisive as we thought it was
At
gonna
least not
be.
between us.
Yes, not between us, and we talked it out, and I think we did a
Yeah,
pretty good job at, you know, really hashing it out and showing there's good parts, but the bad outweighed the good
yeah.
this time.
So that's, I
But
think, two
yeah,
entries in. I mean, I think we're almost pretty accurate. I mean, we have a slight, whatever between the first one, but again, it's all subject to change. But I think so far, pretty in line with the first two movies.
especially with what's getting ready to come.
Yeah, I feel like starting with three is when things might start diverging a little bit.
Yes, I'm really curious when we get to three what our conversation's gonna be like. But alas, did you have anything else you wanted to discuss about Mission Impossible 2, which you never called it what it was also known as?
Am I too?
MI2.
You got to save it to the end, right? A lot of it was not even marketed as Mission Impossible. It
It
was
was
literally
MI2.
MI2,
Yeah.
and somehow it worked.
Hey,
I
we
mean,
got
it made a
butts in
lot
the
of money.
seats.
Made a lot of money.
Then I will give the poster is awesome. The
Yeah.
poster is pretty awesome.
And again,
Yeah.
the final shot of the trailer with him throwing the glasses was pretty cool. But I mean, I always thought that was a pretty cool scene.
Hey,
Growing up, right?
2000s, man.
Yeah.
2000s.
But other than that, no, I have nothing else to say about this one. How about you?
Nah, I have said all I could about MI2, but I want to thank you, Robert, for everything, and I also want to thank everyone else. Now, you know what? I take that back. Not I. We want to thank y'all for taking the time to sit down and watch us discuss this, and thank you as always for everything, your support, and be sure to like and subscribe. Get down in the comments. Just like we talked about with Mission Impossible 1, we want to hear from you about MI2. What is your MI2 experience? What do you think? Are you part of the divisive group?
Were we too
Um
harsh on this one?
yeah,
Not harsh enough.
yes,
Let
we
us
want
know.
to hear from you. Like Robert always says, get down in there and join the conversation. And while we're talking about that, Robert, what else do we have going on in the channel for the people?
So like right now we are doing our Mission Impossible rewatch. We will be ranking every single Mission Impossible movie. You've seen this Mission Impossible 2. Hopefully you watched our first Mission Impossible video, but otherwise on the channel we have our Avengers Doomsday videos coverage starting. We have a video where we pick who might be on Sam Wilson's Avengers team when that Avengers Doomsday opens. We also have our Thunderbolts coverage where we, review and rant about the Thunderbolts movie. We also do the post-credit scene, and we also have a bunch of trailer reactions up on the channel with a lot more to come. So please check all of them out. We have a little bit of everything to appease a wide audience. We watch everything.
Yes, we do. Thank you as always, Robert, and thank y'all again for watching. We'll catch you on the next one.